Hi.
The dirt. And we got Christian here.
How's it going?
All right.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
It's good to be seen.
Nice to meet you. I haven't
How's it going?
officially met you. I see you run all over the place, but I haven't
I
really
run-
actually
I
met you.
run out here a lot.
Yeah.
I'm always
You
up, yeah, I run on the road a lot, so I'm always.
Well, you run out of Veterans Acres too. I know Jeff Lennard will tell me stories of you running him to the ground, which you're
Oh,
the only
really?
person I know that can do that.
No, he's,
Him, huh?
he's a stud. If I'm that sexy when I'm that age, that's
I saw him finish that 200 miler.
happy, smiling, giggling. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
I did 50. I about died.
He was
He's-
upright and everything. Yeah, just doing fine.
No,
yeah.
I'm impressed. The year before, he had to stop. He had like a ligamental thing that
Yeah.
kicked him out, but he was determined this year. Running with him is awesome. He's
I-
11 years my senior. I mean,
Yeah.
and so like I gotta try like to
Wow.
keep up. You know?
Did he bring you into trail running? What brought you into it?
Someone, who was it? I was running road races, so just like like small triathlons, like 70.3, and then the Olympic, those two, and then the half marathon, and then I was just going. I think I had just done a couple marathons,
Okay.
and then I don't remember exactly. I think I was online looking up. Someone told me, I knew it was. There's a guy named Adam. I was at a street fair. And he was like, yeah, my wife and I, we run like 30 miles every weekend. I'm like, shut up. You don't run 30 miles every weekend. And he's like, yeah, we run out. We'll run 15 miles. We'll have breakfast. We'll turn around. We'll run home. I didn't believe him, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. No, that's what they really do. And so he told me about the mud group, so it was easy to remember. And I looked it up, and I just asked, hey, can I come run with you guys?
Yeah.
And I showed up one day, and I missed him because I can't run at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
They all run really early.
They
right?
keep
Everyone's
going
like,
earlier and earlier.
it's nuts, and I'm like, no, I can't run that early. So I must have got there a little late, and I'm running through the trails looking for him, and someone just noticed my beard or something and was like, that's got to be him. And so yeah, there it was. It was
That's funny.
Oh, the mutters are good.
it was cool, and then I took off. I think I've only run with him twice though.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like
Well, well, I hear stories about you. Well, nobody can keep up with you.
no, that's not true.
Oh.
Jeff does really well. They're all awesome runners. I think it's taken me a while to kind of change my running philosophy. To how I approach training in general. I've always kind of been like a.
Well, we should
Go,
have
go.
went a little bit over what you do for a living that makes you so physically
yes.
fit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'm.
Dude, look at your muscles.
I
Look at those
know.
guns. Hello.
Oh wow. No. So I've been a martial artist since I was 15. My parents I had a bit of a anger disorder as a kid, and they were like, we need to do something with you. And I've always been really attracted to it. I think I was able to do the splits at 12. I'd watch
Okay.
martial art montages and just sit and stretch,
Yes.
So I really wanted to do it anyway, and they walked me into a school, and I've been doing it ever since. I think I only took like a year off or so to get through senior year, and then I just kept on with it. It was,
And you have your own school.
yeah, we have a school in Cary. I was teaching for another group. I was a program director for the initial school I came from, and then that business closed, and then I took over, and we've been doing it ever since. And I started running back in high school to kind of get my for fighting, to be in the ring,
Yes.
and then so it was short bursts and fast and go, and being in the ring is kind of intense. And then I collapsed my neck right around 22, so it collapsed like a shelf. I was stuck like a turtle.
Oh wow!
How does that
Oh my
happen?
gosh!
So I got dropped on my head. I was teaching a throw, and he missed the pad and put me on my head, and so it collapsed. And so I was pretty much numb in these two fingers for a good year and a half. And then the tinglies came back. I was really happy.
Yeah.
I went into vertigo right just before my daughter was born, and my wife dragged me to a chiropractor, and I couldn't find up. If you can imagine, so you're laying on the ground, but it reminded me of not that I know off, no, I know.
Wait, I know where this is going.
When you, so if you, yeah, so. You know that feeling when you look one way and then things keep going?
Does
Yeah.
it have anything to do with this?
It was Sambuca, the first one.
Oh,
Anyway, so
yeah.
but that thing where your head goes and so that it's doing that and so they walked me in and he checked me out and x-rayed me and I'm trying to find up while he's doing that and that was rough and then he cracked me and within like I don't know 20 minutes of laying on the like the bed he had the vertigo stopped and then I saw him for about a year, Dr. Cody.
Oh,
He was awesome.
here is it in Crystal Lake?
It was in Fox River Grove. He just passed away recently. Amazing guy though, absolutely amazing guy. Yeah. So I got out of vertigo and then I went and fought again. And then after that I went numb in the ring and my wife pretty much told me she's like, I'm gonna need you to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept on wrestling though, doing jiu-jitsu and competing at that and I don't know. You go numb enough. So now I just teach it.
And he's a great teacher. He
probably
taught
good.
you took
Yeah,
the
I
self-defense
was there. Yeah,
class.
the
enjoy it?
self-defense class. Yeah, it was fun.
I saw
Yeah,
you.
me and my daughter were
Yeah, I was
there.
gonna say your daughter was there too. Yeah.
Yeah, she was playing with your kids a little bit, running around.
I really enjoy doing those. Teaching in general's. It's a great way to connect with the world. You know,
Yes.
you connect with a lot of different people, and I don't like the word intimate is good, but because everyone comes to me and shares with me their the sensitivities that they have, and so it's an interesting job because I get to bring people to that point where they're going to grow. And I have to know in each person how not to push them too far, and so it's always, especially in a group situation, like group setting, you're doing this for years in some cases at a time, and slowly bringing people that intent. And every one of us has a different intensity that we'll go to. So like when you go run, I set my training routines, and I try to meet those training routines. And there's just some days you can't, and I think that's why I run so much alone. I'm gonna be the one that pushes me. Mm-hmm. I think it's really having had a teacher for a long time, and then when you kind of finally separate away from that, and then you're training yourself.
Yeah.
Bringing people to the point where they can do that for themselves, and then be able to transfer that into anything else they do. Mm-hmm. I think that's my teaching martial art is great. But I think that's what we use it for, to get people to that point where they can
Discipline.
see.
What?
Self. I'm such a.
Sorry.
Word.
Yeah,
No,
you didn't
no,
like
no.
that word.
No, I don't. I don't like it. Most people don't like it either.
I don't
Like
mean
they'll
it
hear
in a bad
it. But
way. Discipline. It's good
Yeah.
for you to grow. That's how you. Right?
I agree.
I don't know.
I agree, but I think people have trouble with the word discipline. I like self-discipline, like that
There,
word.
That's better. I like that. Yeah.
But like discipline gets a bad rap.
It does.
Discipline is your freedom. Like when you can deliberately turn on and turn off pieces of either your training, your food intake, your deliberate intensities, you deliberately slowing down, deliberately making yourself do things, like that discipline that you have is freedom from being stuck, like I think some people have different ways of doing that. I use the martial arts to get to people to do that. And then for me, being able to take that then into like running, that's been really cool.
Nice.
Knowing, having like the belt system in a martial art gives you not I know this and I know this, but it gives you a tier of expectation. And so now when you go off into anything else, you have a tier of expectation. You can say, hey, I've only been at this a year. This is probably where I should be expecting. You don't over expect, and then you don't get like beat down by it or depressed by it, or like, what I mean? It's pretty easy to do, to kind of get to that point, and then or have an expectation that's unrealistic.
Yes.
And then be beat by that unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
Like just kettle was that for me. I had given myself a pretty big goal there, and that's the first one where I had set, I'm going to run this, and I only ran a certain amount. It was the first race I did that at. But my expectation was, I was able to level that off in my head and go, okay, well, I'd never run 100K before, so I went past that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And then when I finally realized that, like, I actually injured something, it wasn't because my body felt great. Like, ran Potawatomi twice, and both times I had like a saltwater food issue. Like nothing was right. Like I couldn't get the formula for my body down, compared to the speed and the output. And that's something I gotta listen to Jeff more, because he tells me to walk the hills.
Jeff
And
knows good
Yes,
stuff.
you gotta walk the hills.
I run the hills.
Oh,
Like,
no,
Dude,
dude.
gotta hike those hills.
No.
always
and then you fly down the hill.
I do fly down the hill.
He
Yeah.
does fly down the
That's
hill.
my jam.
I like
right
to
there.
bound down the hill.
yeah.
Like I get this little like Billy Goat thing going. and
That's fun.
I
I feel
don't know.
like I'm
Free
prancing
speed.
down the hill. Like, doo, doo, doo. I don't know. It's just, I'm a girl, so I'm going to say something.
You're
fancy,
prancing.
like prancing.
He's bounding.
Yeah,
bounding.
come on, man.
Sometimes
Billy
I
Goat
tumble
bound.
down the hill.
I haven't fallen really bad. Yeah, I did at the Frozen Gnome. I don't know what happened. Like I
Maybe
hit the
ice.
ice and I hit pretty good. Yeah, but it didn't take the it didn't injure anything. But that was the first time I think I've really been injured running. Like actually injured running was just this last
Was
race.
that
So what'd you
kettle?
do?
Yeah,
What
I
happened?
think the bounding.
It's that darn Billy Goat bounding.
Dang it.
going downhill, maybe just the amount of time. Like, I think the longest I had run up until there was about 12 hours or something. And going into that 14, I ran, Jeff told me to run a certain pace. So I took him to task at that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to run that pace. So I ran the slowest 50K I'd run yet. And I ran that out.
Good job.
And
Yay.
I matched
Easter.
it back. So I said, look, I did a 7 hour that way. I did it exactly 7 hours back. I met up with you guys right at 14 hours.
That's you holding back. That's really
wow.
good.
Well, he
That's
told me,
very-
don't
yeah.
break 12. You'll pay for it later.
Yeah.
And so it took me a lot to like turn around. The blisters got me pretty bad, and then I couldn't step on my foot well. And
Well, it was pretty wet there, and
the rain, it was wet. There was
Yeah.
a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah.
But I love to run in the rain. I didn't realize what that many hours of your feet rubbing in your socks. So I was going back and forth. Someone kept telling me, this is what you do.
Yeah.
You change your socks every few hours. You have someone meet you. And I talk to you and you're like, I don't change nothing. I just run right through.
That's right.
So I was torn between the two. And you know what really stopped me is I didn't want to squat down and take my shoes off. Like that was honestly it. I just didn't want to take them off. I'm like, no, I'm not taking them off. But at that 100K mark, I got to see what was going on in there. I was like, all right. So, but once I went back out, it was like the second aid station. So right around 70 miles or something, I tapped out because I want to keep doing it. I didn't want to like.
Did you sign up for the 100 or did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he was.
I didn't realize that.
I'd
Okay.
never done 100K before, but I was
Gotcha.
like, well, I'm there. What's
Me
another
neither.
38 miles?
Well,
yeah.
It's just a 38-mile fun run after the 100K.
Exactly.
I was actually pretty I was like, man, I got 10 hours to run 30 hours. Like, man, I might,
Yeah.
there was the, so Potawatomi was my, testing ground for that. I've been trying to do everything to be able to run that race and run it right. I screwed something up again. So I think it was, my salt, somewhere within the salt ratio, because I dehydrated. I was drinking, but I dehydrated to a point where even my jaw locked up, like your eyelids,
Yeah.
And so I stopped at some point in the middle of that trail and laid down. And then
Oh my
that was it. I just laid there, and people
Yeah.
were going. They're like, "You okay?" I'm no. And they're like,
like a runner that's okay.
they're like, "Do you need any help?" I'm like, "Nah, just leave me here for a while." And so I think after the first time I threw up right there, that someone came by and they were like, "Do you want us to tell the aid station?" I was like, "Look, if I'm not there in an hour, probably should have someone come." I don't know. I didn't know what that would do to my heart. If something like that was, So I'd felt locked up like that in my legs, but it was like, you do something with your finger and your hand would lock up. And then
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, I knew I screwed something up bad.
Yeah.
And so I finally, it was like more than an hour, and I crawled. Finally found
Wow.
2 sticks, and I'm like, because I couldn't take it. You know that stupid hill with the rope you got to climb?
Are you
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about?
At Potawatomi.
Potawatomi.
Yes, I remember. Oh,
So
I'm
that-
quite
that-
aware of that rope.
So that
Yeah.
hill's stupid. By whoever put that in there is torturous. So by the third,
It was like
the
this.
third loop,
Yeah.
by the third loop or the fourth loop, just grabbing, like pushing up would like lock the muscles up. So you're trying not to like, everything's cramping. So like one leg cramps and then the next leg cramps and so I got up that hill and I went probably a little while longer and then that was it. Like everything locked up and frozen. I was like stiff as a board. And I'm like, I'm laying there. And
man.
throwing up. I'm like, I messed something up. And so I finally got to the aid station and, was it Karen and Joe? They basically walked up and they were like, you want to walk? I was like, I can walk maybe. But the aid station was great. They were wonderful. They gave me ginger ale, Tylenol, and chicken noodle soup.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
magic
Ooh, yeah,
combo,
baby.
Trifecta.
I
These
love
will
me some chicken
never
noodle
leave
soup.
my long distance regime ever again.
Nice.
So we walked that lollipop they have there.
Oh,
With
yeah,
that little
I
ball,
remember
that
that.
little
Yep.
out and back, and then you
isn't-
get back on the trail.
Aren't the Flatlanders there usually?
Heaven's
Or they
Gate
were
or
last
something?
year.
You were there.
Yeah,
Heaven's
one
Gate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate. Right. So I went out probably the worst I've ever felt, and I came back and I felt awesome. And I ate more chicken noodle soup, and you know what I mean? And then we went out, and within another half hour or so, I was running again. And I ran to the
Amazing, right?
Wow.
It was wicked.
That's after running. You can recover.
So
Something, yeah.
it's wild too because like the first time I ever ran that 50, it was like the you get to know yourself doing stuff, but that was the first time I ever feel like I got to know my body the most in depth. Like I started to feel things. That was salt. I started to feel things. That was like there's something happens in your breathing, like in your lungs, like your breathing gets too quick. You need water. You start getting emotional. You need like why am I doing this to myself? You start talking to yourself. You're in your head. No, you need food. Shut up. Go sit down. Eat something.
I need to write this down. Emotional needs food.
Eat must eat.
All emo is food.
Food.
The locking up and the salt, like the muscles starting up, you need salt. The lungs and the respiration, that's water. If your heart rate is going up, like for no reason, like you're running and your heart rate and you can't run. Yeah, you need water. You need
What was the lungs one?
The lungs is water.
Water.
Yeah, like if you're
Okay,
not,
thanks.
it dries out, man.
got
It's
this.
weak, and so
Our body needs a lot of water.
yeah, depending on the way you're putting, and then there's just sometimes we just gotta stop running and just walk.
Yeah.
And just let your body. Oh, that's the stitch you get.
Oh,
in
yeah.
your,
Yeah.
in your
The
side.
cramping, yeah.
That stitch in your side is the body's not processing acid fast enough, and
Okay.
so if you're running faster than you're processing the byproduct, then your body stitches out and you can't. So if you're getting that, you have to slow down.
Slow down.
If it's the heart rate going up
Crystal's
too
taking
fast,
notes
and
over there.
once I figured that out, it was weird. I thought this year I'm going to come back to Potawatomi. I got that down. No, so I messed up the eating part and the salt. And I was like, okay, I know what I got to do. So at Kettle, I think I had it down because when I got to the first 50K, I felt amazing. I was like, all right, I feel awesome. I ate, I had salt at the right ratio. I was drinking. I was doing everything I felt I needed. Got to the second part. My only problem at 100K wasn't my body doing that. It was just my foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that now I got all these other things dialed in. My brain feels fine. I'm alert. I'm awake. I'm taught. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I actually feel energized. I'm like,
Yeah, you look good.
Do this. Yeah.
but there was just that.
What
foot.
It was like
happened
having
to the foot?
It was like having a flat tire. So I think running down the hills,
Oh
bounding,
yes,
Bounding.
Yes,
For-
bounding.
for
I gotta write that word
14
down.
No
Stop
bounding.
forgetting
14
it.
hours. Just it's something in the foot gave
B.O.U..
away. Now
Thanks.
Bounding.
I've probably kicked people in the elbows
Right,
and
Billy Goat.
busted my feet the same way. I
Billy
mean,
Goat. Who's
I was
that?
a skateboarder as a
bounds down like a
kid.
billy
I mean,
goat.
I've messed up, my
Yeah.
but and I've broken a lot of bones, but and kept moving. I
Yeah.
fought with a broken hand when I was younger. I had broken it, got in the ring 2 weeks out, like after they took the cast off. Got in the ring.
Oh
I lost.
my
This is the only fight I
gosh.
lost in the ring. I hit him again and broke the hand again.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I was like 16 or something, and
You
so
must have been a handful of a kid.
We were actually just talking
You
about
think?
that.
I'm gonna tell you,
You think?
my son Corey is exactly.
Ooh.
I love. No, I love.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
awesome. I
your
know.
kids
I,
Giving
are
it back to you, right?
adorable.
Yeah.
it's not even giving it back to me. I get it. Like I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Both kids are polar opposites. One really thrives in school. The other one, he thrives in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like I wish I could find a school that is like specific to him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because once I found my niches, I was able to thrive from those niches. And he's just once he really does like to read, and he does like to write, and he's very creative, and like, but he's as stubborn as I am. Ornery Mule is perfect for me.
Nice.
I really feel I am just a stubborn jackass, like with most things, like, and I will stubborn through a lot of stuff. Actually, I would say that Melissa, so my wife Melissa, is probably the little voice of like, hey, you might want to back up a little bit.
Reel it in a little bit.
Yeah. Why don't we stop for a day here? You know?
We should. Melissa is just. She's
Yeah.
like a little
So sweet.
angel. She's. Yeah.
So should we put stubborn badass on here?
Dude, I'm
We could add stubborn there. We'll just like write it in.
stubborn.
For you.
Stubborn works.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it definitely. And Corey is very stubborn, and he may get that from me, but I think when we can take stubborn and mold it,
Yeah,
can do.
that's
then-
good.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great
Yeah. It's
a
quality,
great
but you
gift.
gotta
gotta
channel
You
channel
have
it.
to really have to channel it.
Now I say I can multitask. That's the ADD in there. You
Yeah.
know, Melissa would disagree.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, women are much better at multitasking, in my opinion. Uh-oh.
Paddle yourself out.
No, I will definitely give that. Melissa,
hilarious.
Melissa, she is the hub of our household. Like she takes care. Everyone thrives because of all the little things she's doing in a day. If it's not that, we would
That's
be
what
in
I
a
meant.
bit of
Like,
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a mom.
I know. I know.
That's what I meant. We're used to doing 5,000
Okay.
things
Okay.
at the same time. Hey, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to use my foot to do something, because both my hands are busy.
She is definitely pulled in so many directions, and she supports this so greatly.
Yeah.
I think she just knows I need that intensity or something like.
You guys are just a perfect couple.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something. Check this out. So like, you into like Chinese astrology, right?
A little bit,
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so no, so I was born what do they call it? A fire snake, right?
Okay.
So 1977 is a fire snake. She's a water rooster. Of all the signs they have,
Fire
like all
snake
together,
and a
it's the
water
most
rooster.
compatible of all the signs.
Oh, really?
I'm
So like
not
that's their
surprised.
deal. It was really
That's
wicked. So
perfect.
we
Yeah.
thought it was cute and romantic.
Yeah.
I don't know
It
that I
is kinda
follow all of it,
cute.
but it's really
Yeah.
That is cool.
I like that.
cool. Yeah.
Fire snake.
Come on, that's
Fire
really-
snake and what kind of rooster?
Water rooster.
Water
Water
rooster.
rooster.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
I mean, fire signs and water signs in that like kind of theology is
They work.
Yeah.
I'll
they're
have
supposed
check
to work
that
together.
out.
Yeah. If you're into that, like I mean, there's a lot of different like other ways that I would say hey, but I thought that was cute. Like we're sitting in a like a Chinese restaurant once or something, and we're like, hey,
Right.
look, and then we looked it up, and it was
look,
really
we're
funny.
compatible.
Yeah, it was really funny. You're dating, you're like, oh. She's like, no.
I got this guy. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, she said she'd stalk me if. Like early on, she was like, "I'll just stalk you, so you might as well just stay with me."
Oh.
We've been inseparable since we met. So like
How long have you guys been
awesome.
together?
19 years,
Wow.
19, nice.
Wow.
something like
So you guys were
We-
young.
I was 21, or 22. She was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she was just about to turn 19. We dated for about 6 years. So 6 years and 6 years. So we met Friday the 13th on a full moon in October.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then we got married 6 years later, Friday the 13th on a full moon in October.
That's
Oh, I
awesome.
Yeah, it was
like
awesome.
it.
My God,
In a
that's
circle
awesome.
in a forest preserve. It was awesome. Like my whole group was dressed in samurai, like as samurai.
Oh, that's
and
so
Yeah.
cool.
her whole group was dressed in like Indian garb, and like
Oh
she
my
had all the traditional henna.
Uh-huh.
One of our students' moms had her dresses flown in from India.
Oh my gosh.
Usha's amazing. She took care of her
Wow.
so well. It was such they did such an amazing job with her. It was
Wow.
beautiful.
That's
And then we were
Oh, I
at
wanna
dusk.
see
It's like
pictures.
right
Me
at dusk,
too.
and we're,
Oh my gosh.
it was really wicked. It was a really cool wedding.
That sounds
Yeah.
so
That
awesome.
reminds me of how we were talking about your special place that you like to
Yeah,
run,
my
and how
secret
we're
place.
like,
You got a secret place to run?
I
Yeah.
got a secret trail.
and so
Top secret.
how it would be a really great place for a wedding.
And it had a
Ah.
circle.
And it had a circle, so
Yeah.
yeah. Were you thinking the same thing?
Yeah.
Zinga.
Oh yeah, it was
circle.
gorgeous. It was in Wakanda, like in the the forest preserve that was there.
Oh, okay.
That was really cool.
That's great. So what are you training for now?
The hennepin.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's going good. So since kettle, I think I've kept anywhere from 40 to 60 miles a week.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Consistent.
I had one sprint where I took 5 days off, and then but I haven't pushed the speed at all. And then I've been running on the road because everyone told me it was flat.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah, it's flat.
like
It's
almost
flat.
stupid flat.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was like, it's
Ridiculously flat.
It's actually 700 feet down.
what do you mean?
Well, there's the elevation change is down, like just up, but only
You don't
700
go
feet. It's not
up.
very much.
Hey, that's because going up 700 feet is pretty dramatic. Like, right? Like
Yeah,
on your
well,
line-
over 100 miles, 700
yeah.
feet's not very much.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that. I think like I said, I just now started adding some of the speed back, and I feel good. And it's the cooler weather. I think the heat gets me.
Yeah.
My heart rate goes. I don't know what it is. Between a 7 and 10 mile run, I can usually keep my heart rate at like a 7.5 to a 7 minute mile. I can keep it down in the 120s, 130s, maybe 140. Depending on the day, but in the heat, all of a sudden, 150,
Yeah.
and it kept shooting up, and
You're working harder.
Were you getting labored breath, or is
Yeah.
just the heart rates go? Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. They're working in tandem. They're like, that's happening, and then so I don't know. It was really wild to feel. I didn't notice it a few years ago, but but a few years ago, I don't know that I was running at the same speeds with the same intensity and the same amount of miles. And this year I took off triathlon. That
Wow,
takes.
you do triathlons as well?
So the
What
last
results?
few, we started with that. I was getting ready for my first half marathon, and I had a friend who was getting ready to do that one Olympic that they held in Crystal Lake. They held it at the Three Oaks Rec Center.
Yes.
And then they never did it again. I was sad, but swimming in there is beautiful. But he was getting ready to do an Olympic there. He'd never done it before. And at some point, his name's Eric. I'm going to pick on him if he watches this.
Hey.
At some point, he in his training, he was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to drop out. And he's like, I can't balance everything. And that's exactly what we spend our time talking about is balancing, everything from our relationships to our workout schedules to our everything, right? Everything's about this little interplay of balance that we do. And so I'm like, look, you can do it. I'm going to do the sprint. And I haven't haven't swam and I don't know. So I'm like, I'm doing one of these, and I can barely make
Were
like
you
12
treading
laps in
water
the
too?
pool. I'm like, dude, what did I do? But I was hell bent on helping him get there. And I was training for the other anyway. I had just a mountain bike. I'm like, we're going to do this, and we got there and we did it. And I was like, it was really fun.
Yeah.
And so then I took it all serious. Like, next thing you know, I got bike shorts. And, I got kids.
Like I said, when you buy those bike shorts.
It was
Oh,
weird.
it's serious, man.
You know what's happening.
Oh,
And then,
man. When you get that cushion down there, oh, man. It's on.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. A friend gave me a racing bike to use. Like, it was nice. I was like, okay. And so I started putting miles on that, and it was fun. Next thing you know, I'm sitting at a 70.3.
That's
going,
awesome.
What am I doing? I'm staring at Lake Michigan like, why am I out here? And Lake Michigan, swimming out there, when they do those tries, the boats, the motor boats, and the undulating water, it's different than a lake. So like you get out in the water and you're doing this, and I started feeling nauseous like halfway through, and then the smell of the gasoline from the boats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there I am, and I'm a bobber trying to swim, and I'm like, I didn't realize it. And then I realized I was seasick like halfway through,
Oh, man.
which was wild. And then the water is pushing you to the shore. So one leg, the whole mile 0.2 is doing more work than the other leg. When I stepped onto the beach, that leg gave out. Like the muscle, like it felt like I had like sprained something in like the anterior tibialis. It just wouldn't flex.
Yeah.
So I ran. I got on the bike, and I couldn't push with one foot
Oh my gosh.
at all. So I went from riding, 19, 21 miles an hour on average
one
to
leg-
like
one leg in it?
to like so
Kind of funny to watch, though. Sorry.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
if I was
dude.
there,
Okay,
You paint right a picture. You're
I wouldn't have
swimming
known
like
you,
this.
though.
I'm trying to picture you
So it's
swimming like this.
70-year-old woman rode past me on her bike,
That's the worst.
and she's locked in, and she looks over at me, and she goes, "Don't worry, you'll get better." And I was like, she's 70 because they write our age on our calf, And I'm like, oh man. And then I was like, okay, hold on. I sat back and I go, if I am that sexy at 70, then yes, then we're on the right path. Yeah, let's do this. And then the run was terrible. It was the worst run I ever had. Like I'm
Did
like,
you drag one leg?
I'm hobbling but I ran it. Hobbled it. I was like, I'm getting this done. So I haven't been back to that one. That was Steelhead. I haven't been back to that one. I've been doing the titanium one in Michigan, the 70.2,
Okay.
which is beautiful. And there I was able to actually like in a couple of years, but it burnt me out last year.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was that or adding ultra running.
Oh, I
Because
don't
it's
know.
only been I've only been at this is like my second year or something. I ran someone, I think it was probably Jeff, was like, yeah, we got the frozen gnome. And I was like, well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, Jeff's like, yeah, that's
Did you read
fun.
up on it before you signed up?
Okay, first of all, don't listen to Jeff.
Right.
So I asked him about, not kettle, I asked him about Potawatomi. And I was like, how's it compared to the frozen gnome? He's like, it's easier. Easier.
Well, it's not 10 degrees below
but
zero.
it can be bad.
This
It can be
year,
really
the
bad.
year before it was
It was
I heard
really
it
I
was
cold.
slept
really
out there in a
cold.
tent like
It was
this. Like,
freezing, yeah.
Yeah, no. That was cold.
Yeah.
But no, the hills.
Yeah.
Like they are right. When you look up the one for Potawatomi, it says like it's kind of like piranha eating you or something. Is that the thing on there? Like it eats away at you the
Yeah.
whole
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and like the mountains is like a shark eating you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. Those hills they travel. But the frozen gnome was so much fun. I really genuinely had a good time, and I didn't think I would slowing down, but that was the first year I started running the trails. Everything else was on the road, and
Yeah.
being in the trails is like, it's so calming.
It's
and
amazing.
it's so, you're running past deer in the morning, and
Yep.
Yeah.
I go over the VA at night sometimes with the light, and seeing the little eyes in
Yeah.
the
Oh,
yeah.
dark
So
is,
cool.
oh, it's so cool.
And there's some owls out there.
Oh yeah, and just in general, being and it has its own natural undulation as well. So it's like the ultimate like interval. If you go out there and run it fast, so like I'll run either one, the Earth Day one or the Frozen Gnome one. And I'm doing one loop, and my speed day, I'll try to do that as fast as I possibly can, and really kind of crank through. And that's a great workout. Like it's a good one.
Love it.
And then if you want to slow it down, you can literally go to the VA and Stearns Woods back there and train for so far any race that I've done in this area, like
Yes.
especially like Southern Illinois stuff. It's not going to help me in the mountains, but like
I think it can. I know a lot of people that have trained for
Really train
Western
hard there?
states at running at Veterans Acres.
how do they deal with the?
I wish I knew.
Yeah,
Well,
elevation.
I don't
the
know.
elevation, you're not, that's just going to be whatever it's going to be when you get out there. But,
That's the only thing that makes me nervous about going out. But I'm slowly starting to work my way out. And
Our last person said she did a lot of hill repeats to prepare herself for her
with one of
big-
those like training masks.
No, just
That's what
a
I'd be
lot
thinking,
of
like that, like,
hill
yeah.
repeats.
yeah,
hill
to
repeats.
deal with
Stairs
the,
and-
Yeah, and
Hills,
stairs
yep.
and hills. And
Oh, so
But it
just being
wouldn't-
out of breath and just staying out of breath
I
and not
don't-
having
Yeah,
that.
basically.
Yeah,
This
just-
wasn't that as high as like Western States gets, because I think Western States you get above 9,000
Ooh.
feet at one point. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I don't know. I didn't look it up, but
Didn't know that.
I know Julie Astars is the person I've talked to, and she's done a lot of races in Western States. She's had some issues with elevation.
I've only been in the mountains once or twice, and it took me a few days to like acclimate and
Yeah.
feel okay. Like I feel dizzy. and,
Yeah, I
like,
feel a little.
like
Yeah,
I'm
I've
walking
never really
around,
been,
Yeah,
so-
I can't imagine running an
only
ultra
Smoky
right now.
Mountains and
Is that
Tennessee, so it's different than it's not elevation like
Yeah.
It's
like
more-
Colorado,
oh,
I guess. Yeah.
well? I hope I get a chance to do that. It's been awesome this last couple of years. I think like I said, I set triathlon aside, as intense as that is, and kind of gives you that the cross training gives you a great, like a constant change. But I really enjoy I really enjoy the long distance running. It's
Yeah.
they started giving me meditation, like introducing me to it when I was about in 4th and 5th grade, because I couldn't control. I had trouble controlling like anything really, and so I've studied a ton of different kinds of meditation ever since. So anything from yoga to qigong, tai chi. I started off doing kung fu, like animal kung fu, like
Nice.
seated meditation, Zen meditation, creative visualization, you name it, and so far of all of them, qigong being a close second. And there's some moments when you're rolling with someone and you're really tired, you get to that point, but running is right around 45 minutes. Within 45 minutes, everything's quiet, and then you're just an animal, and you're just breathing, your body's just running, and you're feeling everything, and everything kind of melts away, and at the same time, you're very present in the moment. And I think that it's been the best meditation for me, like calming, like overall calming wise. It resonates the best. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. Everybody wants to be right where you just described.
I think we all run each day to
That's
get
like
there.
That's like the
Just listening
Zen
to that,
moment.
I was like,
right?
oh,
Right?
yeah.
You're like,
Yep.
I want to be
That's
there.
it.
I missed my run today, but
I did not. I have all of my my best like thoughts about the future or whatever, like the creative, and I can't get home and write it down fast enough.
Yeah.
Or I almost got to start running with something where you can, because it feels like you're onto something, and then if you wait an hour or two,
You lose it.
and you're like, what was that? I really thought I had that down. But you can keep going back to it, and you get in that what do they call it, state. You get in that state of mind, and it's of everything. So I think I'm probably gonna take. I don't know that I'm gonna go back to triathlon right away. I think I'm gonna stick with the longer
right,
distance
we got
running.
one.
Yeah.
Well, it's right now. It's less taxing on my family overall. Triathlon can be. It's very time consuming. Like
More time consuming than training for.
yeah, because my lifts, like if I lift now, it's very short. I can do 20 minutes in the gym, and I'll get that just fast intensity, certain areas of the body. I only work certain areas of the body more than others just to even out what boxing. You're always like that,
Okay.
And so like when you have to work your back to kind of straighten back out and get your neck
Okay.
up. But like running, an hour a day, hour and a half a day, and you can change just the intensities and get what you need out of it. And then you have one day a week where you're out there for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
I mean, it's really not that bad. But if you got to do 2 to 3 two training sessions a day, where you're swimming or you're running, and then you're biking or you're bike running, or
And
then
you have
you're-
to transition.
yeah.
Okay.
And all of that it's very time. I love it. It's very cool. It's very intense. But trail running is far more peaceful.
Yeah.
I think I described it to someone the other day. They were like, why are you like going to the races so much? I'm like, it reminded me of the Dead show with a bunch of people that are like, everyone's so cool and chill and relaxed, and everyone's into it, but everyone's ridiculously health conscious. Like everyone's like the most healthy people You're like, dude, you don't understand. They're 50 and they run for hours, hours. Like it's
And talk
But
and
then at the
laugh.
same time, there's this overall like, just the last gentleman was talking about it, like. Just this overall like great community of people. Everyone's very caring. You don't even know someone, but you see what they're doing, and you're like, oh, I'll help you. Like I mean, I've had a few moments where they're just glowing. You're like, thank you.
Yeah.
My salt ran out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Please, God.
Thank you. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus.
Well, some they're all of a sudden they're bright and glowing, and you're
Yep.
there it is. So I love the community of it. I love the intensity of it. It's been a lot of fun. I think we can do something with it. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we're at it.
Well, we're really all of us will be at the finish line for you for
Yes.
a Hennepin.
We'll see you at the
Yes, sir.
finish
We are
line.
going to hit it.
And
Right.
you will have a Western States qualifier when you finish that
Yep.
now.
Yeah,
so.
baby.
Do I have to get it under 24 hours?
Nope. Just got to finish under 30
Yep.
hours. That's
Is it
the
wrong
cutoff.
that I'm not going to be completely happy if I don't do it in under
Nope.
24
I think
Not
you
wrong.
can do it under
No,
24.
I think you can do it.
My brain says, dude, just go out and just try to finish it. And then there's another part of me that's like, but
Just
I
try
know.
go under 24. Just don't try to go under like
18.
18.
Yeah.
I've watched a few horror stories, guys who are running 7-minute miles, like what for
Ooh,
100?
yeah.
No.
Why are you
Yeah.
starting like that? dude?
Someone
Go
just
with
broke a
your heart
record,
rate.
didn't they?
Yeah. Like 11 hours.
11
right?
hours or so,
Yeah.
100 miles.
Did that
He was
person
running
break
s-
Camille Huron's record?
He was running 7-minute under
Yeah, he
right
did.
7-minute miles.
Yeah.
For 100 miles.
Yeah, Zach Bitter.
He's sick. That's awesome. That's wicked.
That is
How old is
so
he?
unbelievable.
I'm not sure.
I don't really know.
I don't know. We gotta
I gotta
Google that.
I gotta look now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 42 in like 2 weeks, so
Oh
we'll be
man.
like,
He's on Zach
doing
Bitter's
good.
on a Joe Rogan podcast.
oh well.
You'll have to
That's
listen to
that's where I
it.
found out
Yeah.
about Dahlwalter, right? What's her name?
Courtney.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
she is my
Courtney's
girl
wicked.
crush.
She's wicked. I
she
love
is
her.
my girl crush right there.
I that's the other thing about this sport I've been kind of telling everybody is every other sport there is a male female divide, and this sport itself is slowly when it comes to 100 miles or more, that divide is starting to
Yeah.
slowly not exist. It's the women are starting to
I've never
win.
thought.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
the guy,
All
what
right,
she
check
her
them.
first
Yeah.
her first one, she was what 8 hours in front of the lead male.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, 8 hours. Come
She
on,
is
dude.
just unbelievable.
You see what I'm saying? 8 hours
beast.
in
She's
front
a
of the lead male.
beast. She's a beast.
That's So
Yeah.
that is probably the coolest when it comes to like physical endurance overall.
Yeah.
Anyone who So I've been kind of prompting that up. Like, guys, you don't understand. It's not like football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's wrestling. Even there's a specific person on. But if you're talking about this, where it's just you, yeah, dude, that's
Yeah.
I'm impressed. So
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Well, we'll see you at the finish line then.
All right.
Yeah.
Under 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, under 24 for sure.
Under
You're gonna
24.
do
We're
it.
just- we're gonna
You're
finish.
gonna do it.
Yeah.
So-
You're
Just
gonna
gonna
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah, get it done.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for
Awesome.
coming.
Good to
All
see
right.
you.
See you when we give
It
you
was
that
very interesting.
beautiful buckle.
Yeah.
Have you seen the buckle?
I saw the what was the buckle you said for finishing 4 or something
Yeah,
a year?
so we
Oh,
have
yeah.
the run your
Just
ass off buckle.
set mine aside.
Just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've
For your
done
stubborn ass.
I've done 3. I've done 3.
What did you do? Frozen
I did
Elves?
Gnome. I did
Stubborn
Earth Day,
badass.
Day.
and I did 100K.
Yeah,
Kettle.
yeah.
Kettle,
Oh,
and
dude.
so I'm
So
doing
you got
this. so-
4.
Dude, you
All
That's
got
right,
it.
got the big
We
buckle.
got
Wait,
it.
do I have it? No, I needed 4. Wait, I did Gnome 10K. We don't have to keep this rolling, by the way.
Did you turn it off yet? Or? No, right on.
Gnome
So-
10K, but I did an extra loop just for kicks, just cause Arturo.
Arturo. And
then,
Fireball.
I did Earth Day 50K. I'm doing Hennepin. That's 3.
Yep,
No,
not
I
quite
think
there.
I'm shy a
no
race.
dice, Liz. No
No.
dice.
Dang it!
Poker run didn't count.
Next
No.
year. Next year.
That plank off didn't count. Man.
I'm gonna win that, just so you know, if I ever show up.
Oh, we're gonna have some more poker runs. We've
Yeah.
already decided that was
I'm
a
gonna work
fun.
on
That
it.
was really fun.
Right on.
Well, thank
Awesome.
you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. Awesome.
See you.
Yes. Have a good night. Maybe we'll talk
Tell
about
Melissa
my actual
hi.
training regimen if I
Okay.
ever come
Yeah,
back.
next time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
let's
having you
work on that.
back.
I think interesting compared to everyone else.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right.
Later.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Signing out.